Hit play. Start streaming. Are you sure you want to go live? And hey guys, what's going on? Mike the Caveman Q here again, Paleo Problem Island, MikeTheCaveman.com. Got another edition of Monday Nights with Mike, live stream Q&A. Ask me anything health related, you know the deal. And yeah, here we go. So, you know the deal, put your questions down in the comment box in the corner. And what we're going to do is we'll be covering a number of different topics as usual. They're coming in live from you guys, and as I'm waiting for your questions to come in, we'll be talking about a number of different things. I have some things on the docket, including talking a little about the fire cream, which will be coming out hopefully on November 5th. We'll be launching officially. So, yeah. And if you are interested in checking that out, and I'm sure you are, which you should be, what you should be doing is heading on over to the fire cream on YouTube. And the URL for that bad boy is, hold on. Hey, Murray, what's up? How you doing? So it is The Fire Cream. So it's facebook.com/The Fire Cream. And yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that down in the description. And I'll put that, let's see, hold on. We're going to go over here at settings. I will take a look and see MGUS and CIDP. Not 100% sure there, Murray. I will definitely we'll pull that up in a second while I'm getting ready to add that in. And yes, I'm definitely feeling the logo a lot. So, Fire Cream on Facebook. We're going to put that down in the description. Bam. Get rid of the mentions part. I feel like I don't need that. And go. So, down in the description, you should be able to see now the fire cream thing. All right. MGUS and CIDP. Let's figure out what the hell that is. Yes, Facebook. It is now available on Facebook. Let's put that down. New tab. Monoclonal gammopathy of undetermined significance. Very, very interesting. So we'll just pull up Mayo Clinic and see what they got to say about this bad boy. Undetermined significance. MGUS is a condition in which an abnormal protein known as monoclonal protein or M protein is in your blood. The protein is produced in a type of white blood cell in your bone marrow. It usually causes no problems, but sometimes it can progress over the years to other disorders, including some forms of cancer. Ugh. It's important to have regular checkups. People with MGUS generally don't experience any signs or symptoms. Some people may experience a rash of nerve problems, such as numbness or tingling. It is usually detected by chance when you have a blood test for other condition. Yes, thank you, Mariah. I got that. The monoclonal gammopathy of undefined significance. And okay, CIDP is chronic demyelinating polyneuropathy. So you're actually losing the myelination on your neurons, huh? Or rather, on your neurons are myelinated. Yeah. Get that out of the back of the setting. Why did no one tell me that I have this weird step in the background there? All right. So we have now. Okay, we're going back to taking a look at the. And just in case you're interested, it's your last chance to switch today to Optimum. Get the hell out of here. Add closed. So risk factors. People who are over 70. Africans, African Americans more likely than white people. It's kind of funny the fact that they go Africans, African Americans, and then white people. You think we would say Caucasians, but you know. Who cares about them? Who cares about white people? More common in men. That right there, if anything else, is the patriarchy right there. I'm so alienating some people right now. I don't care. But you may have a higher risk of MGUS if other people in the family have the condition. So there's familial aspects. Perhaps it could be, though, environmental, even though it's, they're trying to say it's genetic. Brother is able to keep symptoms under control with paleo diet and exercise, but he wants to know what more he can do diet and lifestyle wise to improve symptoms. Very interesting. So yeah, I have to look and see what the actual what the etiology is. What is the diagnosis and treatment? Oh, duh. I think I went past it a second ago because I was scrolling past. Light chain. Okay, complications. Non-IgM. So is it autoimmune? Good question. Bone fractures, diagnosis and treatment. Additional blood test, bone marrow test. Watchful waiting, pain, fatigue, weakness, unintentional weight loss, medications. Okay, so bone density issues, coping support. All right. Let's see, CIDP. So it's inflammatory. You forgot the eye, Murray. You're killing me. Can progress to blood cancer right down the road. So yeah. So it's a chronic inflammation. Yeah, so that makes sense as to why an ancestral or specifically paleo type diet will be beneficial. Is the fact that in and of itself it is anti-inflammatory. Let's see. It goes down to the myelin sheath, fatty covering, wraps around the protective nerve fibers. Now, is he following more of a keto style, low carb paleo? That's my first question. Now, I know we've had many discussions about keto, but in his case, whereas in yours, it might not have been the best option overall, in his, it actually might very much be a good option. Because most neurodegenerative diseases, will be beneficial. So corticosteroids, normally prednisone, right, makes sense. Immunosuppressants. Ugh. So I would, hey Shoshana, how you doing? Yes, I'll be leaning towards immune modulators, not keto, paleo carbs. Okay, so has he tried a keto-esque approach? Again, like we said, there are certain conditions in which we're definitely going to want to focus on the where we're going to want to focus on a higher inclusion of carbs. His case, when we're talking about neurodegenerative issues, he works out too hard too, so he feels he needs some type of carb. Does he do high intensity stuff, or is he doing mostly resistance training? Because that's going to be a changing factor. So let's open another tab here. Okay, let's see if it's any presser or anybody's talking about. That's never part of it. Let's pull up functional. No. So he's mostly doing resistance training. If he's only doing resistance training, I would definitely lean towards a low carb, like keto approach, and then include a little bit of carbs around type of workouts. So mix things, weights, bike riding, hiking. Yeah, and that's all low intensity stuff. So even if he's going if he's sprinting with the biking, the fact of the matter is keto in terms of keto for athletes, I know he hasn't yet. I'm saying I would say he probably should though. In terms of working out, in long steady endurance like hiking, bike riding, marathon running, that's where you see a lot of the benefits. So yeah, let's pull up some research on this. There you go. Effects of ketogenic diet on exercise metabolism. Again, I'm pulling ahead. Off-road cyclists. Let's see. Creatine kinase, lactic dehydrogenase, confirmed concept of glucostatic mechanism controls hormonal response to exercise. All right. Determine the effects of long-term ketogenic diet, rich in polyunsaturated fatty acids on aerobic performance and exercise metabolism in off-road cyclists. Additionally, the effects of this diet on body mass and body composition were evaluated, as well as those that occurred in lipid and lipoprotein profiles due to dietary intervention. They included 8, so this is kind of a small study, and they're 29 is the 28 plus or minus 4 years, so give or take 23 to 32 is the age range overall. Max workload at lactate threshold were significantly higher after the mixed diet, meaning that there was a higher ratio. Let's go back a little bit so we can kind of put this all in composition. So ketogenic diet stimulated favorable changes in body mass and body composition, as well as lipid and lipoprotein profiles. Important findings of the present study include a significant increase in the relative values of max oxygen uptake and oxygen uptake to lactate threshold after the ketogenic diet, which may be explained by reductions in body mass and mass fat. Bless us, Jesus. Awesome. Cool stuff, bro. Okay. Um, and fat mass and or greater oxygen uptake to obtain same energy yield as on a mixed diet due to the increased fat oxidation or by enhanced sympathetic activation. The max workload and max workload at lactate threshold were significantly higher after the mixed diet. The values of respiratory exchange rate were significantly lower at rest and during the particular stage of exercise protocol following the ketogenic diet. The heart rate and oxygen uptake were significantly higher at rest and during the first 3 stages of exercise after the ketogenic diet, while the reverse was true during the last stages. Creatine kinase and lactase dehydrogenase activity were simply lower at rest during the particular stages. Alterations in insulin and cortisol concentrations due to dietary intervention confirmed the concept that glucostatic mechanisms control the hormonal and metabolic response to exercise. So essentially what we're looking at is we saw changes in the way that our body was able to, or not we were able to see changes in the way that the body was able to handle the energy that was being used and the way it was changing the work output. So let's scroll down a little more. VO2 max, rest on the mixed and keto protocol. Let's see. Can you see that one? No. So when I pop that out, it actually goes and takes it away. Hold on. Can I get that into? Won't let that in. Interesting. So you can't actually see that, can you? At rest. So I could do actually, let's see if I can copy this. Paste. Bam. Excellent. So looking at this here, we have the heart rate on the keto versus the mixed diet. And when we're looking at this, heart rate at rest is, give or take roughly the same. Do after 10 minutes, roughly the same. At 45 minutes, a little higher on keto. And then around 90 minutes, about the same. And then at max effort, it's actually slightly higher on the mixed one. So you actually, they're about the same though. So realistically, not really changing too much. There's no real benefit either way. They're about the same effort. VO2 max, which is basically the output you can put in terms of how much oxygen you're utilizing, you're using more at rest. You're actually burning more at rest on the keto diet. Then building off of that, going to, after 10 minutes, still going a little higher. On 45 minutes, a little higher still. At 90 minutes, it's starting to catch up, and by max effort, it is about the same, meaning you're utilizing the same amount of oxygen whether you're following the mixed diet or the ketogenic diet. So performance is not being changed. It's actually basically exactly the same. Your RER, same kind of thing. By the end of it, if we're looking again, not much difference. We're not on a actual endurance on cycling exercise. We're not really changing much overall in terms of what's going on. So concluded that long-term high-fat diets may be favorable for endurance athletics during the preparatory season when high volume and low moderate intensity of training loads predominate in the training process. High volume training on a ketogenic diet increases fat metabolism during exercises, reduces body fat mass and fat content, and decreases post-exercise muscle damage. Low carbohydrate ketogenic diets decrease the ability to perform high intensity work due to decreased glycogen muscle stores and lower activity of glycolytic enzymes, which is evidenced by a lower lactic acid concentration and maximal workload during the last 15 minutes. So what they're saying there is that, yes, if you're looking for a high intensity, which is why I asked that question before, if you're looking for a short-term, high-intensity, quick burst, if we're looking for sprints, then yeah, it's not going to be ideal. If, however, we're talking about steady state, longer endurance, then yeah, it's going to be basically the same. Now, again, there's an 8-person trial. It's not the end-all, be-all, but, provide some evidence. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this bad boy here, and we're going to add this to the description as well. PDF. Since we were talking about this in the description there. All right. So if you're looking for some of the literature there. We will put that down in the description down below. You can read that for yourself. But moving past that, in terms of that CDIP, let's see if there's anything specifically regarding that and keto. CIDP, keto. Keeping yourself in ketosis. Oh, David Perlmutter. Here we go. Talking about progressive CIDP. Ding. Oh, actually, hold on. Let's see. Therapeutic potential. All right. Nope. Oh. Although Leber hereditary optic neuropathy, so I got some neuropathy there. Neuropathy. I mean, I knew that keto is beneficial in neuropathy in general, but neuroprotective effect, oxidative stress, progressive. What was that? Progressive MS. All right. CDIP, and that was MGUS. No. So it doesn't actually specifically talk about that. Let me see what your comment says. Would you say that keto is favorable over paleo to mitigate his symptoms, putting training aside? Specifically for what I know, and again, this is a very brief, I read a couple of things about it right now. In terms of what it looks like, the MGUS looks like a protein, is the protein autoimmune, I would presume, based on what I saw before. I could be wrong. But the CDIDP looks like an inflammatory response that's resulting in neurodegeneration. Everything neurodegeneration related, I'm definitely leaning towards keto. Paleo or ancestral approach in general is always excellent in terms of reducing inflammation. Keto as well is good for that as well. So I would definitely lean towards a low carb to a ketogenic plan within the keto protocol. But let's see. Epilepsy. I saw the CIDP mentioned in the med. Oh, what the heck? I definitely saw that before. Where did I catch it? Here, progressive CIDP. I have a neurological disease. Where'd it go? Progressive. So it looked like it was somebody commenting about it. Sneaky. Where did it go? Ah, it's probably hidden by one of these. It's probably in the see more. Best diet for CIDP. Autoimmune disorder involves nerve swelling, irritation. Livestrong probably isn't the best resource, but let's just see what they say. Chronic inflammatory polyneuropathies, autoimmune disorder. Again, autoimmune protocol could be beneficial. Paleo keto with some carb up a few times a week or low-ish carbs, say around 50 per day. I think that would be the best bet overall, honestly, yes. #1 cancer center in the Northeast. Yeah, get out of here with that nonsense. All right. No specific diet. However, certain foods can increase inflammation. Which foods may increase it? Saturated fats and trans fats may increase pro-inflammatory markers. And like I said before, Livestrong, probably the best option. Foods that are high in these types of unhealthy fat include red meat, butter, cheese. Get the hell out of here, Livestrong. Frozen foods, soups, and anything made with synthetic trans fat. Sugar and refined carbs may also increase inflammation. In some people, in general, eating a high-calorie diet may include to chronic inflammation. And that exactly is why Livestrong is not a good resource. So, and just to be extra clear on that, let's see what we can find there. Exogenous lipids in myelination. It probably is supposed to say demyelination, but maybe I'm the crazy one, but that definitely says myelination twice. Anyway, so myelinogenesis is the process that depends on both the intrinsic properties of the cell and the extracellular signals. In the rat brain, myelin development is essential postnatal event, and environmental inferences could affect myelin synthesis. Nutrition plays an important role since there is severe postnatal malnutrition, etc., etc. Even though dietary effects are most pronounced in the postnatal period, they can affect. Hold on. Let's see. Because polyunsaturated is suggested. All right. How do I keep getting stuck with with Livestrong? No, let's go to Wellness Mama. She always posts some decent stuff. Now after that, we'll try and go to any papers on CBD oil benefits. Oh yeah. I will definitely pull that up in a second. But yes, in terms of the brain, those are always my two go-tos. When it comes to anything neurodegenerative related, I'm looking at CBD and keto, 150%. I would definitely throw some turmeric in there as well. Definitely some benefit to that, but overall, that's definitely the way to go. So conventional wisdom, at least for the past few decades, says that saturated fat and cholesterol are bad for you. And we all need to go to how it began. We've talked about that way too much. So let's try and figure out where she's talking about myelin. Here we go. Improve brain health. The brain is largely made of fat, and the fat in the brain is largely saturated. The myelin sheath that surrounds the nerves in the brain ensures the proper function is made largely of saturated fat and cholesterol. As such, consuming saturated fats is incredibly important, especially during pregnancy and nursing, as these are the times of rapid brain development for babies. All right, now, myelin sheath. Let's go back to that again. Saturated fat and CBI. Let's see what kind of research we can find on this bad boy. So if we find something that's actually a little bit newer. Identification of naturally occurring fatty acids of the myelin sheath that resolve neuroinflammation. Lipids constitute 70% of the myelin sheath, and autoantibodies against lipids may contribute to the demyelination that characterizes multiple sclerosis. We use lipid antigen microarrays and lipid mass spectrometry to identify bona fide lipid targets of the autoimmune response in the brain. We found the autoantibodies in this MS target of phosphate group in the phosphatidylserine and oxidized phosphatidylcholine derivatives. The administration of these lipids ameliorated experimental autoimmune encephalomyelitis by suppressing activation and inducing apoptosis of autoreactive T cells. All right, let's look into the actual literature because I really don't feel like breaking that down right now. But the short version of that is that there was an autoimmune response, and basically what they did was they targeted they found that there were antibodies that were attacking the phosphate receptor groups, and basically causing that to commit suicide. They're inducing apoptosis of the autoreactive T cells. So, all right. Apparent adaptive immune responses target and destroy the myelin sheath. So in the CIDP, it sounds like it's pretty similar because it's chronic demyelinating neuropathy, chronic inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy. Looks like it's pretty similar to MS. All right. Comprise over 70% of the myelin sheath. Does it actually say which fatty acid? We were talking about a second ago, but saturated. T cells effects mediated by the lipids lipids saturated fatty acid side chains. Derivatives containing saturated fatty acid side chains. A natural brakes on inflammatory response in the CNS. Here we go. Unsaturated fatty acid derived mediators generated in resolving exudates can contribute to the termination of inflammatory response. We asked whether the saturated fatty acid side chains could modulate T cell proliferation, and fatty acids esterified phosphate head group in the SN1 position. The oxidizable fatty acids at the SN2 position were of a particular interest in light of reported roles in modulating inflammation. Now, again, anybody joining this late, let's be very clear. We are exploring something brand new, so I'm learning along with you in terms of this particular condition. We are now comparing CIDP to MS in terms of demyelination. So, yeah, fun stuff. Tested a variety of structural analogs of these side chains: palmitic acid, ethyl palmitate, basic acid, octanoic acid, methyloctanoate, and subbaric acid. These molecules form part of the saturated non-polar side chains of our lipids of interest, which may be cleaved from phospholipids by lipases, which are regulated in the MS brain. Let's move past that. We find that the saturated non-polar sides mediate the protective effects of the therapeutic lipids. Here we go again. In terms of maintaining myelination, we find that the saturated non-polar side chains mediate the protective effects of the therapeutic lipids. Palmitic acid representative of such fatty acid side chains present within the lipids, were able to reproduce therapeutic effects of the lipids in vitro and in vivo, so in the cell and in real life. So regardless of whether they act as free fatty acids or as phospholipid components, these saturated fatty acids appear to serve a function similar to that of unsaturated fatty acid derivatives, resolvins, and protectants, which mediate the resolution of inflammation in tissue exudates. So essentially, what we are looking at, and let's move it all the way. Oh, that's it. Okay. So they're going through methods last. I hate when studies do that. It makes it a pain in my butt. Long and the short is choosing target antibody as potential therapeutic in the case of lipids on an autoantibody. Essentially, what we're looking at right now is that there are potential benefits of the saturated fatty acids. That's the short version of what we're trying to say here. Let's move forward, though, and we will mention specifically multiple sclerosis in relation to this, because again, I really don't know how much research I'm going to be able to find related to specifically to CIDP and keto. This will probably be the closest we're going to get to working on his condition. So let's pull that. Let's go to the PDF. All right. And Megan, I heard you should only drink aminos with a certain ratio. What's that ratio and why is it important? Interesting. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's finish up with this part of Murray's question. Let's see. Careful in clinical and pathological account of patient with demyelinating lesions or sclerosis and plaques. Okay, it's explaining MS. Is MS primarily a neurodegenerative disease? Outside in approach in this model, a dysregulated immune system attacks the central nervous system. So again, when we're looking at the CIDP, similarly, we're looking at an autoimmune condition attacking the central nervous system, resulting in demyelination. Again, that's my gross understanding. When we are working to the effective ketogenic diet, provide alternative fuel supply, it could, what's number 8? For the neurodegenerative component of progressive MS. Let's focus on that. Ketogenic diet traditionally has been used as a treatment of resistant epilepsy, but it's also becoming increasingly apparent that the benefits may be able to apply to a wider spectrum of neurological disease. Although research on its use outside the realms of epilepsy is still in its infancy, the findings, infancy, English this time, and no, Luke did not make it tonight, so unfortunately not. So, although research on its use outside the realms of epilepsy is still in its infancy, that's what I said it right this time, the findings are promising and hold great potential for the treatment of neurodegeneration, particularly regard to mitochondrial function. Ketogenic diet has favorable effect on mitochondrial function, reduces the levels of reactive oxygen species, and increases ATP availability. The diet may provide neuroprotection and reduce inflammation, and ketones produced during a ketogenic diet can be used as an alternative fuel source. So that being said, we have no studies here. Conclusion: neurodegeneration is thought to underlie the pathogenesis of progressive MS. Mitochondrial dysfunction may result in reduced ATP availability. They may promote axonal atrophy, leading to degeneration. There is evidence of mitochondrial dysfunction within normal appearing gray matter, and mitochondrial function appears to correlate with axonal survival. So basically what we're looking at right now is the mitochondria are falling apart, brain starts to slow down, and because there's lack of energy, no ATP availability. According to in vitro and animal studies, the ketogenic diet increases ATP production, providing more energy, promotes mitochondrial biogenesis, the creation of new mitochondria, and the bypasses dysfunctional steps within the mitochondrial bioenergetic process. So with that, we're looking at actually changing the pathway through which the mitochondria produce energy. increases antioxidant levels and reduces oxidative damage. So if we have oxidative stress that is causing, there is generally going to be oxidative stress if we're looking at excessive inflammation and autoimmune conditions. And as such, if we're able to improve the antioxidant and reduce, so that's antioxidant's purpose is to reduce the oxidative stress being done. So if we're able to reduce the oxidative stress and the subsequent damage, good things. Since an increase in ATP and overall improvement in mitochondrial functioning correlates with axonal survival, the ketogenic diet may offer therapeutic benefit for the neurodegenerative component of MS. Bam. All right, so we're going to drop that into the comments as well. Excuse me. So down in the description down below, you'll now be able to find that study. And one last one before I dig for you, Megan. I will pull up real quick on CBD oil and MS. Let's see. Cell cannibalism. Cannibalism by sporulating bacteria. Not what we're looking. Cannabidiol. Apparently I can't spell right now. There we go. Counteracts the main neuronal apoptosis in experimental multiple sclerosis. That's a THC CBD spray, a THC CBD spray. Clinical experiences with cannabinoids and spasticity management in multiple sclerosis provides long-term protection against deleterious effects of inflammation in a viral model of MS. Open label. Yeah, those are both the blends. Looking explicitly for, let's see what we got here. Multiple sclerosis is a disease of global concern. Nevertheless, neuronal death mechanisms are not to be underestimated. Present study was designed to test the effects of intraperitoneal administration of cannabidiol. Like an injection into the stomach? Huh. Oh, because it's mice. Cool. Like the air cavity below the stomach? Yeah. Psychotropic effects. That alone, purified CBD possesses an anti-apoptotic power against neurodegenerative processes underlying MS development. This represents an interesting new profile of CBD that could lead to its introduction in the management of MS. And actually, Megan, if you could clarify exactly what you mean by drink aminos in a certain ratio. So you should only drink aminos with a certain ratio. Oh, are you trying to say that the rate in terms of the ratio of which amino acids, or are we saying like in relation to fats and carbohydrates? So while I'm finishing up the CBD part, if you could clear that up for me, what you mean by that exactly. Let's see if this is available. If the full PDF is available on this, we can take a look at this. Free PDF download. Awesome. Perfect. BCAAs. What about them? In terms of the leucine, isoleucine, and valine, so the actual branch chain amino acids. So the BCAAs, they should be in a certain ratio. Yeah, I want to say it's 2-1-1. I will pull it up in a second. But I want to say isoleucine has 2. But leucine, I think, should have 2. And yeah, I will explain. I'll get more into that in a second. But here we go. Let's see what we got in this. Demonstrated alone, pure. So intraperitoneal. Now again, this is an animal study, so to be clear, your mileage may vary, but it is getting us somewhere. Needle test. The test was aimed to assess mice's responsiveness to mechanical stimuli. Each animal was subjected to 3 stimuli on the plantar surface of a hind paw with several seconds in between applications. So they're jabbing mice with needles. Yeah, 2-on-1. Honestly, I don't see, if you're buying a pre-planned BCAAs, I don't see them ever leaving that ratio. That's pretty much the standard ratio for branch chains. But basically, again, the study though, it's that's kind of funny. They, in order to test the mice whether they're able to respond appropriately, they jab them in the plantar surface of the hind paw. Basically, they stab them in the back of their feet with needles a couple times, 3 times, to make sure that they actually were able to like respond. Was that to like make sure they weren't too high? Like what the hell? Oh man. Um. Controls cascades of mediators involved in apoptosis. So my act. What were you told otherwise? You were told there are other ratios? I don't know. I've never seen ratios other than that. BCAA ratio. 411. Ooh, look at that. Aren't you fancy? Huh. What is the optimal BCAA ratio? Very interesting. Question was added 4 years ago. We'll come back to that. But now that we pulled that up, we'll definitely come back to that for you. So we'll find out. Let's learn. I've never really seen it outside that 2-1-1 ratio, I'll be honest though. Despite its high fat component, yeah. So yeah, oh yeah, that's right. I was going to add this if I didn't already. I'm losing my mind. Probably just losing my mind. Yeah, I added that already. Awesome. See, I'm not crazy. Yeah. Let's be clear. I don't know that that means you're not crazy. That just means that you weren't incorrect on this particular situation. There is a little bit more debate on it, I guess. Yes, I'm an asshole, I know. Short but significant round of evidences that are either useful to better characterize the efficacy of the, as well as the molecular pathways modulated by the molecule. Of course, further studies should be performed to isolate and characterize the non-psychotropic component of the plant among all mostly CBD, as well as we show in the present work. Alone possesses very interesting pharmacological properties into counteracting the cascade of mediators leading to this neuronal cell death in MS. No, me, rude, never. What are you talking about? All right. So we'll come. I'll drop that in the. I'll drop that in the identification of naturally occurring fatty acids and yeah. So I'll drop those two both in the description later. I'll be nice and I will go on to Megan's question. Among branching amino acids, leucine, isoleucine, and valine, leucine has been identified as the one enhancing anabolic signaling and overall muscle protein synthesis. Current products on the market have ratios of 2-1-1, 4-1-1, 8-1-1, and 12-1-1. I could not find any supporting literature where the optimal ratio was studied. Have you? So this is ResearchGate. If you're not familiar with ResearchGate, I would totally look into that information. Yeah, no problem, Mariah. Yeah, I will come back to that in a second. Dang, wound up around myself. So yeah, ResearchGate is an awesome resource that if the research isn't available on PubMed, a lot of times it may be available through ResearchGate. And what's really cool is that you can actually, if you sign up for an account, particularly if you're still a student, you can actually request that the actual authors share the information with you. I've actually been in correspondence with some authors on ones that were behind paywalls, and they're really usually willing and wanting to help you do it. So wanting to help you understand and work with their research. So it's real good. No problem, Murray. I will definitely post that over. I know I rambled a bunch about that particular topic because, again, it's something I'm not familiar with those two conditions, but based on what I can tell about it, definitely lean more towards keto. Keto won't be a problem for his exercise, so if he wants to add a little bit more in there, it should be a problem, but I would definitely be more mindful of lowering the carbs, just saying. All right. Great topic area. The question, to my knowledge, has not been directly investigated. William Apro and Ava Blomstead did a great job with signaling. However, signaling responses do not necessarily mirror changes in muscle protein synthesis. We, Sterling, and Exeter have some interesting data imminent, so watch this space. What's interesting about that is that this was 4 years ago. So maybe Oliver Whittard has actually released some research since that time on muscle protein synthesis. What's he working on now? Variable response to eccentric exercises, selected in-season nutritional strategies to enhance recovery. Nope. Oh, nope. Doesn't appear he actually did that. Hi, Melee. As Dr. Whittard has already indicated, signaling responses do not technically necessarily mirror changes in muscle protein synthesis. More importantly, if you're asking for practical reasons and not for some purely biochemical reason, MPS itself is not a good predictor of net protein accretion of strength gains, particularly provided adequate high protein intake. See, for instance, some other research, the effects of protein and amino acid supplementations on performance and training adaptations during resistance training. Okay, so essentially what we're looking at here is, has there actually been literature indicating that there is a optimal ratio? So basically, as of 4 years ago, that answer had not been answered yet. Let's see what the muscle protein synthesis, what they're saying here. Influence of supplementation with branched-chain amino acids in combination with resistant exercise on P70S6 kinase phosphorylation in resting exercising human skeletal muscle. In this particular study, they tested what? Let's see, muscle biopsy taken. Phosphorylation of AKT was unaltered by resistance exercise and or supplementation, whereas mTOR phosphorylation was enhanced to a similar extent in both exercising and resting muscle, following exercise in the absence and presence. These findings indicate that resistance training and BCAA exert both separate and combined effects on P70 phosphorylation in AKT independent manner. So essentially, again, in that research, what they were saying is that as BCAA intake increased, this phosphorylation in both legs. Hold on. Increase. All right. How BCAA intake increases. So yes, I was looking at see if they mentioned different ratios. So no. Okay. So I thought the study that he tagged there was going to show the different ratios, but it apparently didn't. Let's see. Optimal BCAA ratio. And yeah. Aha. 1991. In this study, we investigated the optimal ratio of individualized branched-chain amino acids in balance in fusion in laparotomized rats. So at 1.105, 1.51, 111, 121, 141, respectively, of isoleucine, leucine, valine. So, to be clear, leucine's in the wrong spot there, but both experiments, no marked difference was observed in the mean cumulative 7-day nitrogen balance and urinary 3-methylhistidine levels of all the groups. The BCAA concentrations and molar ratios of individual BCAAs in plasma were disarranged by the infusion of the different solutions, tended, however, to allow their values to approach the pre-infusion levels. These results suggest the optimal ratio of individual BCAAs is an amino acid infusion that lies between 111 and 121 for this injured rat model in total parental nutrition. Okay, parenteral. So essentially, they hurt the rats. they jacked up the rats, and they gave them ratios of 0.511, 111, 211, and 411. And what they did was they tested to see, after 7 days, what would happen when they gave the rats this plus nitrogen plus glucose. Sorry, the first one was just all that fused with 140 milligrams. Okay, and 100. So that's the first experiment, and then 100 milligrams of nitrogen and 10 glucose for that. And this is a really old study, so they probably won't have the rest of it. Short answer is that after the 7 days, they found that the ratios of 111 and 211 were the best in terms of repairing the injury. So in the concept of muscle damage after a workout, you're technically injuring it. Now, you're not actually breaking it down as this would appear to have. So less injury required. It should be a little bit easier to recover from just a workout-related injury versus, say, actual damage. But in that case, 2-on-1 was sufficient. 4-on-1 did not actually result in a better option. Amino acid ratio of plasma acids, 3 different issues. Ratio of dietary branch chain amino acids is associated with lower prevalence of obesity in young northern Chinese adults. Interesting. So let's see if this has anything to do with what we need to look at. Important role in process of protein synthesis, especially during periods of energy restriction after exercise. One study of wrestlers found that BCAA supplementation with energy restriction was more effective in reducing body fat than energy restriction alone. And absolutely, I definitely think that's a good idea because when you're reducing the energy and you're still providing the BCAAs, you're actually being able to support your muscle protein synthesis. So you're going to lose less muscle mass in that process. BCAA was shown to improve insulin resistance in mice and humans and might play an active role in anti-obesity. Okay. So, does this have anything to do with what the hell we're talking about? The actual ratio. Dietary nutrient intake calculation. I mean, this seems like it could be an interesting study, but not particularly important. Oh, wait. Table 1. What do we have here? I know you can't see what I'm looking at right now, but I'm kind of checking to see real quick. Huh. Maybe. 2-on-1 or 2.1. 3.7. Yeah, not really. Not particularly important. Not the study you were looking for. This is not the study you were looking for. This is not the study you seek, as I butcher that quote. If anybody gets that quote, you get a prize. Because it was terrible the way I did it. Tyrosine ratio as a value. Huh. Potential prognostic factors. Again, come across some interesting studies, but not particularly pertinent to what we are discussing right now. All right. So, those of you joining late, if you're still around, what we're discussing right now is the protein ratios, branch amino acid ratios. And honestly, it doesn't really appear to be much literature on the actual ratio. What's the best ratio? Oh, there's a whole video on this. Interesting. Let's see what he has to say. Bam. Same day supplements. I'm gonna let this guy talk. I'm gonna grab a kombucha. Oh, yeah, I kind of see where you're going with that, but go on. All right, this guy, he's out. Sorry, man. I appreciate the look, and I may even maybe I'll share your link down below. But that was just not good. No. Um, Essentially speaking, that's basically what I was saying. The same thing. There really isn't much clinical data that indicates what is better, quote unquote. What is being said so far? All right, here we go. Hold on. Amino acid composition of leucine enriched amino essential acid supplement. Oh, what the heck? Oh, yeah. Amino acid supplements. Short answer is leucine does appear to be the magic amino acid when it comes to muscle synthesis, which is why you want in a slightly higher ratio. So now, while I am personally in favor of branching amino acids overall for that, even like an EAA, like an essential amino acid supplementation protocol, might even be just as beneficial. My buddy Kale, who knows quite a bit on that aspect of it, we've had discussions on that before, and Kale's actually probably coming on Team Fire Cream too, so good guy. Um, let's actually hold on. Leucine versus BCAA supplementation. Okay, I feel like I've seen literature on this before as well. Versus specific, like in terms of specifically just leucine versus here. Distinct effects of leucine or mixture of the branching amino acids, leucine, isoleucine, valine, supplementation on resistance to fatigue and muscle and liver glycogen degradation in trained rats. Here we go. The aim of the study was to evaluate the mixture of branching amino acid supplementation compared to leucine administered orally on the muscle biochemical parameters of trained rats submitted to exercise-induced protocol of glycogen depletion. All right, we'll skip the methods for now, just to save time. Both muscle and liver glycogen degradation ratio were significantly higher in the mixture of BCAAs compared to the PLA group and the leucine group. Oh, what's the PLA? Sorry, placebo. You get that one, Mike. That's why I get for skipping the methods, I guess. Compared to the placebo group and leucine group, presented a decreased liver glycogen degradation ratio compared to the mixture of BCAAs. Both muscle and liver glycogen content were significantly spared in the mixture of the BCAAs and leucine groups compared to the placebo group. Performance tests demonstrated that leucine supplementation enhanced resistance to exhaustion compared to the mixture of BCAAs. However, no difference was found when leucine supplementation was compared to placebo. Muscle citrate content was significantly higher in the mixture of BCAAs compared to placebo group. Muscle malate content was significantly elevated in the mixture of placebos compared to the BCAA group compared with both the placebo and leucine groups. Leucine supplementation improved performance compared with the mixture of BCAAs, sparing muscle glycogen despite the augmentation of some Krebs cycle, so TCA, tricarboxylic acid. Yeah. Concentrations on the left side of the TCA cycle. So basically, short version, let's pull up the actual full study. Hopefully it's freely available, otherwise I'm going to have to do some of my magic. Dun, 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 dun. PDF. Damn, look at that. Look at that. It's always a lovely thing. Distinct effects. Oh, yeah, the cute little thing there. Little picture. So leucine is transaminated to alanine in skeletal muscle. Alanine reaches the liver where it can be reconverted to glucose. Simultaneously, leucine can augment translocation of GLUT4 in a situation of low energy availability or stimulate insulin secretion and consequently glucose uptake and protein synthesis when energy supply is adequate. All right. So, in conclusion, In present experimental conditions, the mixture of BCAAs and leucine supplementation in glycogen-depleted rats and before intense physical activity features distinct effects on performance. Leucine supplementation improved performance compared with the mixture of BCAA supplementation, sparing muscle glycogen stores. So a lot of this we're talking about right now, the whole glycogen-depleted rats. Basically, we're talking about that keto. Kind of we were talking about keto earlier. What they're saying right now is that leucine improved it outside of the context of branched chain amino acids. So taken together, these data suggest that in the mixture of BCAAs, glycogen depletion occurred faster than in the leucine group. So despite the augmentation of some TCAIs concentration on the left side of the TCA cycle, that's TCAI is the Krebs cycle intermediate on the left side of the cycle. Although we have not estimated other direct measures as glucokinase and PDH or PDH activity or GLE4 expression, our results are in accordance with another study in which rats supplemented with a mixture of BCAAs featured accelerated glucose utilization and glucose 6-phosphate in the liver. Probably due to transcriptional mechanisms or whatever. It's beyond a lot of the times where I'm like rushing through it, it's beyond the scope of what we're trying to do right now and keep this within the hour-long, give or take, where I like to keep these live streams. So, short version of this. And this, Megan, to basically roundaboutly answer your question, could potentially be why you're seeing people that are recommending higher ratios, if they are, in fact, recommending higher ratios, which is that essentially leucine in and of itself may have significant benefits outside the context of the BCAAs. That being said, I probably would still overall just recommend going with BCAAs. And I will go and drop that link down below as well. So, hopefully that kind of explained what I wanted to say before. What we're talking about essentially on this topic is that you can go with the BCAAs, you can go with the leucine. I personally would generally recommend going with the BCAAs, despite the study showing, equal effect. I've personally seen most benefit overall from supplementing with the branch chains. If you want to switch it over to supplementing with just leucine, if you want to supplement it over with its essential amino acids, so EAAs, you could probably try that out as well, play around with that. But overall, probably not going to be the end of the world either way. But I'll put this study down below. Do we have any more questions besides that? Again, hopefully that answered what you were looking for. If it didn't, you let me know, and I will be happy to go so much more into it. Now, again, of course, this is in rats, and as we saw both from our buddy in that other... Oh, no. No, I hate when that happens. Yeah, whatever, I'll fix that later. Yeah, okay, this is looking ridiculous. I'm going to stop doing that for now. All right, do we have any more questions? At this point, we're going to be on for about an hour now. Actually, here, started streaming 58 minutes ago. Cool, good to know. Good to know. Dun, dun, dun. So again, those of you who joined late in the beginning, we're talking about how the fire cream is in fact super close to coming. And if you haven't already, make sure you go on over and you close those out to not be a complete creeper and give away everything I'm talking about. If you haven't already, please head on over to Facebook over on facebook.com/thefirecream and check it out and make sure you give it a like. I put a link down in the description so you can actually go do that, make it super easy. But do I not like this? I liked it before. What kind of nonsense is that? Hello world. So yes, we literally just made this like probably an hour, however long ago, and we're at 53 people liking it. Awesome, I love it. Thank you, peoples. So make sure you head on over and like the page, because the fire cream is where it's at, and if you don't have some, you don't know about it, oh, you're going to know about it, don't worry. As ridiculous as that sounds. All right. So, hello world, fire cream. All right, proud to announce our first Fire Cream athletes. I know mentioned before we're gonna have a couple more that we're trying to bring onto the team, but yes, we do have, as it is right now, Giovanni Santillan and Mike Lemire, who are both professional fighters. We have Giovanni, who's a professional boxer, as well as Mike Lemire is a professional kickboxer. So, number 7 and number 12 in the world. But yeah, guys, like I said, we are about at that hour mark. I will put the rest of the research down below. That way you can check it out at your leisure if you are so inclined. Otherwise, you know the deal. Like and subscribe, share it with your friends. You know, pick up your very own Ask Mike the Caveman t-shirt. That's down below. Yeah, check out the research. Come check me out a little more. Again, I know I'm a broken record on this every week. I will at some point probably go back to the daily videos, but you know, it's a little tough sometimes. Right now, launching the Fire Cream, school in general, working on my. I'll probably taking the CNS test next month. Hopefully, I have to get a hold of them. I don't know. I haven't seen the email back from them in a little bit. That could be a little swirly. I have to see what's up with that. But yeah, if there's no other questions, guys, you know I love you. Subscribe, share with your friends, you know the rest, all et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right, guys, and I'll see you later. Probably next week.